Hey everyone, it's Fantayzia. Welcome back to another discussion video. So I was inspired by something on the forums, but we're not actually going to be going over to the forums today because I have gone through this thread before, but I was reading some replies that have happened like over time that weren't there when I had originally went over this thread, and it just kind of like inspired me to talk about some stuff. There was basically a thread on the forums called Any Hope Left for Preteens, which I've talked about that and a bunch of stuff to do with preteens in the past. But some people were pointing out how they started playing differently ever since we got infants, and kind of like how they see each individual life stage, like, relating it to like in real life ages. And it really got me thinking, and like there was discussion about how like toddlers should have things like going to daycare, different like development stages and stuff like that they just don't have, and like preschool and all of that. And honestly, like it really got me thinking that now that we do have infants, and I feel like they're very fleshed out, and there's a lot of like milestones and stuff that they can hit. And I know, of course, also toddlers got the milestones too, but how cool would it be if they kind of did like a refresh on toddlers? I just feel like now that there's this like, baby stage that feels more like babies who are like, learning to crawl and all of that. And then like they try food for the first time, which like when they start sitting up and like they're learning to crawl, like they're learning to lift themselves up and stuff like that, and they're sitting in their high chair and getting introduced like finger foods and everything, to me like that's starting to feel like, the infant is like going into toddlerhood. And then with toddlers, I feel like, not even I feel like, we've kind of known forever now that the Sims 4 toddlers are kind of like a little bit older than they were in previous games like The Sims 3. They were meant to be a little younger. Toddlers can just do more in The Sims 4, and like we don't have to teach them to walk in that same way and all of that. They're like already walking, right? They do get better at walking over time, but like, yeah, they'll automatically know how to walk and everything like that. And, I've seen some people say like they even seem like toddlers could go up to like as old as 4 years old, which I feel like, I don't know, the perfect age that I feel like the toddlers look like are like 3, in my opinion. Again, this makes me think of like the possibility of gradual aging, which I know will not be a thing in The Sims 4, but I would love to see that in The Sims 5. Like it just makes me think of that because there's this like weird gap between toddlerhood and childhood. But yeah, so I would love to see them go in and like refresh toddlers, or just give us more for toddlers with different packs. Like, I don't know, I feel like we got so much for infants, and then we got growing together, which gives you even more for infants. And yeah, we've gotten more things for toddlers over time, but I feel like, does anyone else feel like they need more like development stuff? And like, I don't know, the age that they seem like, I would love so much if we got preschool, like a preschool system. And it'd be really cool if like, then we get a new career, like our Sims could be like a preschool teacher. I mean, daycare too, but like preschool would be really fun. And they could go to preschool and start like learning things and stuff like that. I would love that so much. And then now this leads me to like another discussion. So yeah, we're just talking today, you guys. I didn't write anything down. I was like, you know what? I just want to like chat about some stuff. I miss having like discussion videos like these. They're very like chill podcast style. I mean, I still do those, but I used to just like hit record and talk about like anything and everything that came to my head. But at this point, I feel like I've talked about almost everything, but I don't know. I just felt like inspired. So anyways, I want to talk about preteens as well. So there's been talk about that. Like I said, like, of course, the forum that inspired this, like the thread, is called Any Hope Left for Preteens, which, like I said, I've gone over that before. But as I've also mentioned, but if you haven't seen those videos, like I've talked about how they actually hired, like EA hired the person who made the preteen mod. Literally, she now works there, which from the very start when that happened, I was just like, oh my God, I feel like preteens are eventually going to make their way. And like, I still think that. However, I will say I saw some people saying in that thread that they feel like maybe preteens are going to be more likely in The Sims 5, and I could see that too. So what do you guys think? Comment down below. But not to mention, like when they gave us infants, I talked about how like, oh my God, this even opens the door up even more for the fact that maybe we'll get even more life stages. Like you never know, because not to mention, apparently The Sims 5 and The Sims 4 are going to be coexisting basically. So when the next generation, like Project Renee, when that releases, they've already confirmed that The Sims 4 is still going to be continuing, which has never been done. Like, they always end off the previous one, which also brings my concerns that it's not even going to be called The Sims 5. But honestly, I'm really not too worried about it because I know a lot of people are worried about the next generation of The Sims. I'm just excited because we don't know much yet, so I'm not going to go be worried about, you know what I mean? Like, I want to just be excited about it, and that is all until we know more, right? At least we know it's going to be a life simulation, and clearly, like, we've seen things. It's going to feel like The Sims. It might feel really different, I don't know, but I feel like, yeah, maybe they'll start off The Sims or Project Renee with preteens, which would be really, really cool. And I hope, like, also, like, detailed babies come right away and all of that stuff instead of having to wait for those things. But if they were to give us preteens in The Sims 4, I just feel like it would be so much better. Like, you know, I've said before, like, the jump between children to teenagers is, like, really steep. But also, then I feel like if they do that, people are gonna feel like, you know, oh, the jump from toddlers to kids is really steep, which it's really not. But I guess there is still, like, there's definitely, like, you know, the kindergarten age, which, like, the kids in the game don't feel like kindergarteners. They feel like maybe, like, I don't know, second graders or something is how I see them. Also, like, depending the way you style them and stuff like that, they could even look like third or fourth graders. Like, it really depends. But I don't know. I don't see them giving us, like, an in-between stage for that, like kindergarteners. Like, what would they even call that? Like, I really don't even know. Like, I just think that, like, doesn't really make sense. But infants made sense because, you know, there's a pretty big gap in between, like, things that happen between a newborn to, like, a toddler. You know what I mean? There was just, like, a huge gap there of, like, milestones that, you know, infants reach and stuff like that. Like, yeah. So that was definitely necessary. And then same goes for preteens. Like, some people think they're not necessary, but, like, thinking about it from, like, you know, the fact that we got infants and how, like, game changing they are, at least for me, like, I can't even, it's crazy because we lived without them for so long, but now I'm just like, I can't even picture going back without that. Like, I need that infant stage. You know what I mean? Like, I get, like, so excited for my newborns to become infants. And yeah, like, it just having all that and, like, seeing what they were able to do with them. Like, you know, for years we wanted better babies and I didn't expect them to give us a whole new life stage. You know what I mean? Like, that was crazy to me. I literally remember just hoping, you know, they'll just update the babies at least so that we can put them on the couch or put them, like, in a baby swing and, you know, have them not be stuck to the bassinet and stuff like that. I remember talking about that, and then they just freaking blew us away with this whole infant stage. And I don't know, the fact that they can do that just gives me hope that, like, you know, clearly they would put the time into a new life stage because they also did it with toddlers. Now, obviously, like, with toddlers, like, the difference is, like, I feel like that was maybe, I don't know, but I feel like that was, like, always planned, you know, like, because they should have been there at release. Like, that was really weird that they weren't there at release. Like, what? Guys, that was the weirdest thing ever for me. As a Sims girly, that was so freaking insane to me. Like, I remember the first time I had a baby age up to a kid, like, I was just like, okay. Like, I don't know. That was, like, one thing I hated from the start because I actually enjoyed The Sims 4 when it first came out, believe it or not. Like, I know a lot of people were not happy with the way it was. We didn't even have pools, but, like, I liked it. There was definitely things where I was just like, what? Like, I was really confused. I was confused about the no pools thing too, honestly. But, like, the jump from the, like, no toddlers was just like, I was just like, huh? Like, it was, guys, if you can remember, like, how you felt when you came to the realization that toddlers were not included in the Sims 4 base game, like, what was your reaction to that? Because I was like, it was just weird. But anyway, yeah, so like I said, like, now I couldn't picture it without infants. So I feel like it's, like, the same thing when I think of preteens. Like, you may think they're not necessary, but, like, a lot of people thought, like, infants weren't necessary and they just wanted, like, improved babies. But then they gave us infants and it was done so well and perfectly and, like, gave us actually, like, a good amount of gameplay where it, like, feels worth having that other life stage. I feel like it would be the same for preteens. And we might be thinking, like, okay, how much could they give us? But some people used to say that same thing about better babies. And so I feel like there's actually, like, a lot they could do. I mean, right off the bat, of course, they could do, like, middle school and, like, crushes in a different way than teenagers because, like, kids can't have crushes. They can't do any of that. They can't hold hands, have their first kiss. And I don't think they'll ever do that because that can be, like, iffy to do for kids because like the kids are representing like an age group that could be anywhere from like 5 years old to like 10. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the age group that the kids look like in the game. You know, like I said, to me, they look like first or second graders. So yeah, I feel like that's why kids don't have stuff like that. I know kids get crushes and stuff, but they just seem a little too young to like add that in, right? But for preteens, it would be appropriate. It would make sense. Like, you know what I mean? Preteens, like 12 years old. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have your first crush and maybe like your first boyfriend or girlfriend. It's like a cutesy little thing. Like they could have it be different where like, I don't even know if it would be called like a boyfriend or girlfriend. Like they could have it be separate. Right? And then when you become a teenager, you can have an official boyfriend or girlfriend. What could they call it for preteens? I don't even know. But obviously it could be like a crush system, which is in the preteen mod. And like you could have like supervised dates where like the parents come, which is also in the preteen mod. Like there's a lot of different things they could do. And I think it would be so cool. And like different projects they'd have to do at school, like it could be different from like the other, like I don't know, they could really like add to a lot of things. And like they're growing up a little more, you know, they might be allowed to do a few more things. Like maybe their curfew is a little later. Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of like random things off the top of my head and like going through the awkward stage. I just know like personally thinking back, me like as a preteen to a teenager was like very different. Like very different stages, very. And yeah, I feel like a lot of us can relate to that. Maybe not everyone, but like, yeah. Anyways, you guys, I just wanted to chat about this. I want to know your thoughts down below. And I would love to do more videos like this. So if you guys have, you know, any thoughts, anything you would love to see for preteens or whatever, updates to toddlers, you know, refreshes for whatever, honestly, like anything you would love to see them like go back and fix, or like updates you want to see like to create a sim, anything like that, like comment down below because, you know, I would love to actually do like discussion videos on your guys' comments. I think that would be really fun. And we can just sit and chit chat. And yeah, you guys tell me you like these sort of like podcast style videos and they're fun to do, you know, in between like other actual gameplay videos. So anyways, with that said, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I hope you guys are having an amazing day and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.